Hello and welcome to Life's Nuggets with Susan and Patricia. My name is Patricia Carr and I'm a mindset coach.
And I'm Susan, and I'm a nutritionist.
So today we are going to talk about self-checkout. Do you love it? Do you hate it? What are the pros? What are the cons? Where do we think that it's going? Susan, I didn't really think much about self-checkout until I kind of looked into it a little bit and found it really interesting. Now, first of all, I don't know about you, but I use it.
Do you
Not
use it a
all
lot though?
the time. I use it a fair amount. Yeah.
See, oh, it goes in fits and starts for me. I will like to use it when I think I don't have a lot to get and I just kind of want to nip in and nip out. But then it depends also what I'm nipping in and out with, right? So, because I've learned now, if you're taking things that need to be weighed and then you have to type in the name of it, that really winds me up because often it goes wrong. I'm like, oh no. And then you put your bag down and oh, you haven't weighed it and can you take it, because if you put anything on the produce side and the machine hasn't acknowledged it, it then flags you, right? So I will literally go in if I can carry those items like here. Otherwise, I'm not interested in it.
Using it.
It creates too much stress for me. I'll happily wait in line.
I use it all the time when I'm at like Shoppers Drug Mart because it's a really easy one. So Shoppers Drug Mart is one that I will use that. And when I'm at a grocery store, I will use them only if I only have only a few things to get because it's much better to go through the cashier when you've got, your full grocery thing. But I have to say, it took me forever to figure out like the produce, right? You have to search the item and then you got to figure out
Which one it is?
exactly what it what it is and that took me a while to figure that out, but I feel like I'm an expert now, so I'm all good with that. So in some ways I really like it, but I feel guilty about using self-checkout because I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, are people losing jobs?
But then there's always people around it, right, to flag up those problems, right? And that's like if you need to go through with wine, right? You have to have somebody, although it's clearly obvious you and I do not, we are well over 18, like guys, just let us go through. And see, that's
Funny.
something I wish they'd find a solution to that. I really do. I'm like, surely with technology today, especially as our metro, when you do self-checkout, they're like you can see your face. Do you know what I mean? There's a little part
Oh,
of the
really?
screen and they're checking like your face is there. So I'm like, surely there must be something now to be able to do like recognition of, I don't know, like say 25 and above. And then, the younger ones, you would have somebody come and check them. But when I have to have somebody come and okay the fact that I can buy a bottle of wine, it does. I'm just like, it's not practical. Just let me buy my wine and let me go through.
You know what? I've
Right.
never bought wine through a self-checkout. So I
Oh,
actually
haven't
didn't know
you?
that. No, I've never done that.
Oh, yeah.
So I have not experienced that yet.
Ooh.
But you know what I found interesting when I was kind of reading up a little bit about this is like pros and cons. And, the pros are, especially if you only have a few items, you're in and out really quickly,
Yeah.
which is great. Um, what else is there? There's, you can
There's
beg.
less wait time on the
Yeah,
whole,
yeah.
right? People do tend to go, like we said, just for a few items. So even if there's like five or six people queuing up, that queue goes down actually really fast because usually there's like six or seven checkouts, right? You can go to. So I think, the speed of it definitely helps the practicality of it in that way, is definitely a big point, I think, for using it.
I know
Um,
that a lot of companies brought it in because the thought was that they were going to save money
mm,
and streamline processes, right? And so there was always the worry, well, are people losing their jobs? But I'm realizing that theft is so huge. I actually read, I don't know if you knew this, Susan, but 15%, they did a survey, 15% of people admit to stealing through self-checkout.
Hang on, how much? 1.5 or 5.0?
15, yeah, 1.5, 15%.
Seriously? Oh,
Yeah,
good. You know what? I would never. oc-
occur to
Yeah,
me.
but is it stealing like they've put it in and they've forgotten? No,
No, because
somebody
that's a different stat, Susan. 21% of people have admitted that they forgot to scan something. And
and then
when,
they don't scan it.
yeah, they don't scan it. So theft is a huge
That is
problem.
much higher than I would have thought, right?
Yeah,
Because see, somehow that would never enter my. I'm a bit
we're
naive
too
here.
honest, Susan. We are too honest. No, that would never occur to me either. But I also heard that there are
Wow.
gangs who are going in now, and I didn't get a clear understanding what that is looks like, but gangs are going in and they're buying high ticket stuff, and I guess they distract or they do
Yeah.
something, and then they don't scan all the items. And so there's huge theft. So
And that,
companies like Canadian Tire, Giant Tiger, and Walmart are decreasing or getting rid of their self-checkouts altogether.
really. So I'm surprised they'd get rid of them completely. Because I would have thought like the younger generation are actually quite happy. I think sometimes, and it's true, when we were talking about this, I think sometimes if there's a really chatty cashier, and I'm really not in the mood to chat, right?
Yeah.
Some of them pick up on it, some of them aren't. And it's true that that could be a day that I'd be like, you know what, I'm in a bad mood or something's happened and I really don't want the pleasantries. I just want to buy my stuff and go out. That's definitely when I would use self-checkout, right? So I mean, obviously they're not going to keep it for that. But I would have thought that the younger generation are much more in tune with. Do you know what I mean? I just don't want to talk today. I just want to
No, which is a
it,
whole other conversation because we are becoming so isolated. But that is a whole other
that
conversation.
is.
We need to stay, you know,
Need to stay focused.
stay, we need to have community. We need to be
Yeah, you
talking to.
do. But the thing is, you do still have it because I find most of the self-checkout, so there is still always somebody there, right, from the store. They have to come. I'll catch their eye, I'll say hi, I'll go, because let's face it, some people when they go to the normal checkout don't say a word to the cashier anyway,
No, they don't.
right?
Um,
So, and personally, I find it's almost ruder to do that, right? To kind of almost pretend there's nobody there than to go to a self-checkout because I always kind of feel sorry for the people when you're being blatantly ignored. Do you mean they're standing for hours, they're trying to be pleasant, they're trying to do their job, and then you get people, and I've seen one or two people that are just, I would say almost rude. Do you know, it's like, huh? Like, wow, okay. Like just a hello might be nice. Like, you know,
yeah. And from the cashier's point of view, like sometimes you get really rude, like really argumentative
yeah.
customers.
But
So go through the self-checkout, like you really get rid of that. So it's like it says a double-edged sword. If you lose that personable approach, but it also can maybe be less stressful. The other
yeah.
downside to doing the self-checkout is all the tech problems.
Oh my, and that's the reason I really only use it is like you said, when you're saying shoppers, it's true. If I'm just getting two or three things at shoppers, I do tend to use it then. Because like you said, it's two, three items, I'm in, I'm out, I'm done. But I did try to use it once with a big shop at Costco. And it was the biggest mistake of my life because everything seemed to be needed to be weighed and measured and typing in the name. And I was so dumb by the end of it, Patricia. I was so wishing I had actually just gone to the counter where they put all your stuff on, you pass it all through, they know exactly what they're doing. And the thing is, I've always been, and I know it's practice, but even so, I still think it's really impressive when you go to these cashiers and they look at a product and they remember the barcode off by heart.
Oh, yeah, I could
I mean,
never
and
do
they'll go, oh, that's tuk, 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 tuk. And I'm like, whoa, like how many barcodes do you have stored in your memory? Like that's impressive, right? And they
very
do that at Costco.
yeah. And grocery stores too, the cashiers, you see them and they're just like they're pumped. It's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they're great.
So that's the aspect that I find is just tiresome as a client. If I go in and I've got too much stuff, then I would just rather wait in line, say hello, bag my stuff quietly, because I always feel more rushed in the self-checkout to bag everything quickly than if I'm going through the normal checkout. Do you mean for me, I feel there's this tension behind me, like people are waiting for me to go as quickly as I can.
Mhm.
When things sort of bung up, or something isn't weighed properly, or my bag hasn't been weighed and it's stopping, then that stresses me out, because I can almost feel the other people going, lady, come on, I've just got two items and I want to get out, kind of thing, right? I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I'm like,
No, sometimes I feel that way. And sometimes I'm the person behind. Especially, okay, so those people who are doing those price checks and the coupons. Oh Lord, when you get caught behind those people and they're there forever because they've got to check every single thing. I
yeah.
mean, good for you. I know that you're doing that, and that's great, but that's when I'm like, geez, I wish I could have gone through the self-checkout.
So there was an interesting thing actually they did in Switzerland when you mentioned this, and I think they still do it, is it was kind of like a form of self-checkout. So you would have your like Metro membership card, your like point thing. You would arrive and there was like a big panel of handheld scanners, right? So you'd go in, you'd pick up your handheld scanner, you'd glunk, you'd scan your card so you knew that that scanner was related to your account, and you would scan everything as you went round. Right. So you could really bag everything as you went round, right? You'd then go to any cashier with your little scanner, you would hand it to them, they'd put it into the machine, it would tally everything up, you'd pay, you'd go. The only downside is that they would have random checks, and you never knew when it was going to fall on you. So once or twice I ended up doing this huge shop. I'd go with my scanner, and it was always the most inconvenient. And I'd hand over my scanner, and she goes, "It's a check." Like, oh, because you have to take everything out of your bags. And they have to scan everything, and they check that it's matching, obviously, with what you've got on your scanner. It didn't happen often enough to make me not do it, right? To be
Yeah.
fair. And
But
I
if
honestly
you're
thought
in a
it was,
hurry, that's
yeah,
a
it was a great system on the whole. And I now I don't know what the theft levels,
work.
must have been some, but I know when I went back like 3 years ago, they were still doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
and it was, yeah, it was fun because you'd kind of, you beep, you'd scan, beep, you'd scan. It was
Well, okay, so I know we need to wrap up, but just a quick thing, slightly off topic, but I don't know if you ever go to Denny's. Every once in a while, I go to Denny's. They have these great breakfasts, and there's a Denny's here, fairly close by. Um, they've got a robot that brings the food to your table.
Are you serious?
No, so I know that
That would
that
freak me out.
self-checkout is, I don't know, it's not really self-checkout, but
But
no,
is it a robot like a little R2D2 kind of thing, or is it like a,
yeah, like it's a little guy and he's got kind of things on his his head where you put the plates. I think there's underneath. And it talks. Like I think it says hello or something. And the first time I saw that, I was actually really upset because I thought, oh my gosh, you're telling me that now I have to go to a restaurant and I can't even get a personal service. Now, someone is there, right? Like there is a server who comes and takes your order and does all of that stuff. But it's the little robot, and they say it saves time. But it also, one of the reasons they brought it in is they were having problems getting staff. And so usually it'll come out to your table, and whoever's waiting tables will quickly go over there and put everything on your table. But I'm guessing if that person was busy, you could just take it all off yourself. So, you know,
wow.
I feel bad. Like if you're having problems getting reliable staff, so that's where you're going.
Yeah. And that is an issue now, right? More and more I hear where my son's working, people are quit. Like, yeah, I think it is an
Problem.
issue. Like the service industry is suffering at the moment. And I think, are these cash outs here to stay? I find it hard that they could phase them out completely everywhere. Maybe, like you said, some stores they will just for theft issues. But I think I think even I would be a bit bummed out, to be honest, if I went to my local metro and saw they'd got rid of them all. Do you
Oh,
know
I
what I
would
mean?
be
Because there is
very
just that
bummed out.
practicality of it that I appreciate having it there when I need it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I do not want self-checkouts to take over completely. And I think in
Totally.
certain places they're helpful.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't want, it feels like we're losing something, especially in restaurants. You
yeah.
know, like if I'm gonna tip, again, we're going
And
off.
then who are you tipping? The robot?
Exactly. Why am I tipping a robot who came over and I had to take my own stuff off
Yeah.
the thing, right? And normally the guy does come over and takes everything off, but like anyway, interesting times and where we're going. And like look at elderly people, right? Elderly people
Yeah.
really struggle with some of this technology.
Well, and it is hard because these are things that they've, if you think somebody in their 70s, they have seen such a huge change in how society works. I can only imagine, for somebody who may have sort of slight memory issue, do you know what I mean? Like the stress that must cause them from having to do things in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I would have thought that most stores will just either have less of the self-checkouts, rather because as I said, I just can't see them phasing them out completely. I just don't see that happening. I think the younger generation, it would be an uproar for them.
I think so too. And I think especially if you have some small items, it's more
It
efficient.
is handy, yeah.
Um, and they can streamline things better. So I don't think that they're going to be phased out. I think they're here to stay, but I hope, like you, that they don't take over.
This is it.
I don't know. Here we are back at AI, always back at AI there, Susan. Is AI taking over everything? Where are we at? Um,
Well,
so
we could do, yeah, that could be an interesting topic. I mean, I think, if anybody, like we always say, as we wrap this up, if anybody has any suggestions of ideas they'd like us to cover, right? How we use AI could be maybe one of them,
absolutely.
from our perspective. But again, I think if, the more we talk about this, the more we have these open conversations about how we see and use things in our everyday, I think it can be helpful for people, right? Just to kind of go, okay, it's not just me, or yeah, oh, maybe that's a great idea to try it, right? I don't know.
Absolutely. I completely agree. It's so great to share and let everybody know like we're
The
not
struggles we
alone.
go through.
Yeah, the things that we go through. So, if you like this episode, please like it for us. If you'd like to share it, we'd love for that to happen too. And like Susan said, if you have any comments or any topic ideas, that even if you wanted to come on and talk about a topic, we'd love to do that. Reach out to us. All of our information is in the description below. And we wish you a great day.
Great afternoon.